online broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin.
Nailed it. There it is.
One Disney property to another.
Well, exactly. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Star Wars Rebels After Show here on AfterBuzz TV. Season 2, Episode 11 or 9, depending on how you count them. Certain sources count Siege of Lothal as being Episodes 1 and 2, and that would make this Episode 9, and other sources count the first episode of this actual season's run as Episode 1, which would make this Episode 9.
It gets confusing.
Exactly. Terribly confusing.
This week's episode.
That's it. We're all here. We're ready to talk about Star Wars. It's going to be great. If you guys have not done so already, please be sure to go over to iTunes and subscribe. Leave us a review if you like. It's very important. It basically lets our producers know that you like what we're doing here, and then we can keep doing awesome shows like this. And remember, if you are listening on iTunes, you can also go over to YouTube and watch our beautiful faces, as well as hearing our lovely voices talk about Star Wars Rebels. And we already have a bunch of people in the live chat tonight right now, so thank you for those of you who are joining us right now. And remember, you can also join in the conversation on Twitter using that hashtag ABTVRebels, which a few of you did before the show even started tonight, so thank you so much. We'll address those on the show. I am Emma Fyffe. You can follow me all over the internet at Emma Fyffe, and I am joined by a fabulous panel of ladies this evening. Megan Salinas.
Hey guys, you can tweet at me at the Menguin. That's TheMenguin.
And Katie Cullen.
Hi, all my buddies. You can find me at Kiaxet. That's Kiaxet.
All right. What did you guys think of the episode tonight?
I'm not crying, you're crying.
I know, right?
I am not surprised. What I am surprised about is that his parents were alive that long. Mm-hmm. I expected to be like, yeah, they died years ago. And it was like, no, they died like 3 months ago.
Yeah,
sorry,
pretty recently.
Yeah, I felt really terrible because I was like, oh my gosh, his speech killed them, and your jaw just dropped. I feel kind of terrible. But I really liked this episode, less because of the emotional beats that we had, which were all really good.
They were.
But just kind of looking at this episode, there were certain still shots that looked like they were from a painting.
I know.
That was just
in front of the door.
Yeah.
The one that got
some
me.
Beautiful shot compositions in this one.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Just so lovely.
And something that I've noticed about Star Wars Rebels as we've been watching all of the episodes this season is with the musical score, it's almost like the entire episode is scored straight through. Oh, yeah. So like the transitions between scenes are like so seamless, and it's very good at kind of crafting the emotional arc of each episode, in addition to crafting all of the individual topics of the scenes. So it's just such a lovely thing. Yeah, actually, I referenced the hashtag already, and Billy Polihan said, "Why do you think Ezra's parents were kept alive so long?" Because that was something that we were just talking about. That we were surprised that their deaths had been fairly recent.
It's entirely possible, for a number of reasons. Maybe it's Empire policy, where if like somebody even has like a nugget of information, they could still be considered useful. It's also possible that when like they just happen to stay alive because of complete and random circumstance, but then when Ezra became a part of the rebellion, maybe they were like, hey, leverage.
Yeah.
In case it ever gets that far.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think that's completely legitimate. Yeah, this was such a nice episode of emotional growth for Ezra. It was really nice to see him so committed. Do you know what I mean by that?
So driven. We don't normally see, like, because he's normally the one, like, punching Zeb in the shoulder and making quips with Kanan. But, yeah, when he has a drive to do something, his determination in this episode was definitely something that was fun to watch. But at the same time, because especially with episodes like this where the stakes are so high and so personal.
Yeah, oh, totally.
It could easily lead to character regression, and we didn't see that.
Not at all.
He snaps at somebody and they say, I'm sorry, and he's like, ugh, I shouldn't have snapped at you, as opposed to just, you don't understand, that sort of thing. There were so many opportunities for them to treat him like a child throwing a fit, and they didn't, and I very, very much respected and appreciated that.
Yeah, I really appreciated that too, because it basically opens up that Ezra has this sort of Force vision dream of his parents, and so it's interesting because I think we all agree that none of us thought for a second that Ezra's parents were still alive.
No.
I had a little inkling when he had this prophetic vision, I was like, okay, maybe this is how you bring them back into the show. But for the most part, it's been. But then again, I thought episodes and episodes ago that they were dead, and they weren't.
I just kind of figured dead until proven otherwise, given how Star Wars tends to go, and given that we had this Jedi Master's alive. Oh, dear God, they're keeping her bones here.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Oh, that was so freaking creepy.
Hope can be dangerous in times of war.
It absolutely can. But my question is, do you think that Ezra really, truly believed that his parents might be alive?
I think given that vision he did. So it was even worse to have that hope just dashed.
Yeah.
I don't think he ever gave up hope that they were alive, but the Force being like, parents.
I honestly think for him, it probably depended on the day. Because
you
ask him on, the day where he saw his parents' old friend who, was having trouble communicating to him. He's like, I don't even want to hear it.
Yeah, Sibo.
Yeah, he's like, I don't even want to hear it. Shut up. I don't want to know, because he figured that they were gone. But then other days when he has this tight-knit family, he's probably like, maybe there is hope. So it probably depended on the
You're
day.
absolutely right. And we sort of see that reflected in the final Force vision he has of them at the end of this episode, where they say to him, if there's no hope, then there's nothing. So I think that is something that they probably actually did say to him at some point.
Many points, I assume. Because this, to me, looked like a flashback. It's also peaceful. It won't be when the Empire gets here.
Yeah.
I don't think this was new. I think this was a very vivid flashback for Ezra.
Yeah, or at least a pseudo flashback constructed based on real memories.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the case.
It's a vivid hallucination.
It's interesting that the message is how important it is to keep hope when his hope turned out to be false hope.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting message that, he was driven by this false hope, but the message is still, without hope, we have nothing.
Right.
Well, so that's a very interesting paradox.
I hesitate to use this because I've been watching way too much Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but the vision gave him closure.
Yes.
Because that was the big open-ended, basically open wound in his psyche. Where are my parents? And at least knowing what happened to them and not having it be like, oh, they died. Having it be like, they staged a rebellion and a prison break and a bazillion people got out and they made sure everyone got out, but unfortunately they couldn't make it. That is, if you're going to go out, that's the way to do it.
Now, I have a question kind of going off of that, because his parents were the type of people to stay behind and take care of everybody and make sure everybody got out before they did. We see some parallels to that in this episode in terms of Hera and Kanan both. And so I'm wondering if maybe that wasn't a little bit of foreshadowing of maybe things to come.
Yeah. Are you talking about the line where Kanan references the fact that she's been taking care of everybody long before either of them were around?
Exactly. And she tells
I love
them
that origin story.
And she tells them to get out while she stays behind to make sure everybody else can leave. And this one was successful, but that's the type of person that she is. And I think we can see that most of the people on Ezra's team are that way.
Yeah.
So I'm a little concerned concerned, given what's happened to his parents now. Like I said, I'm wondering if that's maybe not a little bit of foreshadowing.
I know, it's interesting because I feel like, without getting too much into prediction territory, I feel like it could kind of go either way, where like Ezra and Kanan are gonna be the ones to, I don't want to necessarily say get killed, but like bite the dust in one way or another, and then Hera is the one left to just take care of everybody, or it could be vice versa.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't think we're going to get around to killing off any of our main six
No,
for a good,
not for a while yet.
like final season.
Yeah, well,
No, we're
exactly.
talking like final stretch
yeah,
of the
way
series.
down the line.
But I think we're going to keep Ezra straight up till the end because he is the chosen demographic audience, XB. His children relate to this character. He is your gateway into this world.
Yeah. What did you guys think of the relationship building between Kanan and Ezra throughout this episode?
Yes. It's a nice contrast to the ton of dad and dad fighting that we've gotten this season. So it's nice to see that it's not just Kanan having jealousy issues and failing at being dad, that he's actually fairly good at it in some respects, and that this is one of them.
I mean, especially considering, Kanan straight up says, I never knew my parents.
But I definitely know what it's like to lose someone you care about. Like, I've read the first couple issues of the comics.
yeah, I was
and
gonna say, yeah.
dang, oh man,
It's on
his master dies, and then it gets worse.
It's on my reading list. Actually, a lot of
I'll
people,
lend them to you. They're
A lot of
Yeah,
people have
people-
been recommending them.
Yeah,
They're
I
nothing
had
but good
those
things.
recommended, and then also on Twitter today, let's see, where is it?
The comics are a step up from "I'm not crying, you're crying."
Yeah,
they're worse.
Yeah, at Grandpa Karamba on Twitter also recommended the Star Wars Lost Stars, which takes place in the same time period as Rebels, but it's from the Empire's perspective. So I definitely want to read that.
And if any of you guys want to talk about New Dawn, I believe is the prequel book
Yes.
to this series, tweet at Dylan. He can talk
Oh,
about it
yeah.
when the cows come home.
Dylan
Yeah.
knows all of the things about that.
Yeah.
we need to get him hooked on Twit longer.
Yes, I just the reason I brought up the sort of relationship building between Kanan and Ezra was Ant in the chat said when Kanan said, because I mean there's this awesome lightsaber battle
Yes.
when they're trying to leave Gurel to go to Lothal, and the Empire has figured out that there is a rebel base there, and so there's all these Star Destroyers and there's stormtroopers and there's the Inquisitors, and it's just everything is falling apart. But I mean, Ezra kicked some serious butt in this scene. Like, it was so cool.
Yeah, he
But
knocked
have
down
you-
old mutton chops.
Yeah.
But have you noticed? Like, we had this with, I think it was mid-season last season, when he was fighting the Inquisitor and there were the giant cat bat things.
Oh,
Heck,
yeah.
if I can remember what they're called.
Cat bat things. I know.
the little bitey things, and then the much larger bitey thing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
And that rage makes his force powers stronger, and he was getting very upset about essentially the delays.
Yeah.
So that was what I was reading in that, in that he had a lot more force, and a lot more power there, but he was also very much losing control. And
Yeah.
that closing the door stopped him from doing something fantastically stupid.
Yeah, no, you definitely have to. You get tone, like little notes of the dark side here and there from Ezra, and it's always cause for concern. I
Oh,
think.
yeah.
But I did want to, and we were talking about this a tiny bit while we were watching the episode. I'm really glad we didn't waste any time with like people blaming Ezra for the information leak. First of all, nobody knows.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But
yeah.
I'm so glad that the show didn't waste time going, this is all your fault, because I hate
yeah,
that.
well, because I mean, when he met up with the prisoner X10, who knew his parents, Ryder Azadi, he said, yes, your broadcast made it through, but like it was a good thing,
Yeah.
because it inspired people to kind of keep fighting back.
Yeah.
Basically being like, you're not alone out there. There are people that are fighting against the Empire and that believe in the greater good.
Yeah.
Because ultimately that is one thing that Rebels is quite a lot about. Even though, these characters are very complicated and human, the good guys are still very good.
Yeah.
Even though Ezra, you definitely see those shades of like, oh, he could go to the dark side, which I think is something we'll continue to play with as the series goes on.
Well, and we all kind of know that Chopper wanted to blow up a ship with a baby in it. He's like chaotic neutral.
Yes.
I just kind of give up when it comes to that one.
I think he just likes explosions.
Billy Callahan referred to the Seventh Sister as Buffy the Jedi Slayer, which I just wanted to share with you all.
My life is richer for it.
Talk a little bit about that, just the interaction that they had with Commander Mutton Chops up there. Him saying, oh, they did this, it's very clever. You respect them despite the fact that they represent your failure. Like, I can't figure out if she's making fun of him or if she's just trying to figure out how his devious little mind works. Like, it's also interesting layers of character for them.
Yeah. Well, my sort of impression of the Seventh Sister is that and I love seeing this in a woman character because it's a trait that we don't always see. She believes that she is always right and her way is the best way to do it.
And, when it comes to fifth brother, sometimes that is the case. Like, are you going to listen to me this time?
And then it is very much a sibling thing of I told you so.
Yeah.
There's a reason they put her in Disneyland.
That the four of them together, the Admiral, Mutton Chops, I'm just going to start calling
He's just Commander Mutton Chops, let's be real.
Because I would call him Javert, but he's too mean to be Javert.
He's not really Javert.
Moving on. But the four of them together, they're just such a catty group.
I love it. It's very much this is something that I think we see in a lot of children's programming, and we all did the Transformers after show, and it's kind of similar in that the Autobots, they kind of struggle to all work together, but they're really trying to work together, and the Decepticons, or in this case the Empire and the Sith, every single one of them is on their own side.
Yeah.
But the thing about that is at least for Decepticons, you have more out and out backstabbing, but we don't really have a Sith version of Starscream here. Like you have the Inquisitors who are kind of following their own protocol, and you've got the foot soldiers and the Admiral and whatnot who are also following their own. But they're still going to the same goal, and they're still allies. So they're not just going to throw one another under the gun if it comes to it.
Yeah, though Justin Van Valkenburg, and I agree completely, points out in the chat that the biggest thing about the Seventh Sister is she's very manipulative, because it's not only that she thinks her way is the right way, she is going to secretly
ensure that it's the right way.
That everybody does everything her way.
Dance, puppets, dance.
Yeah, she's a great character.
She's fascinating, and I want to know, and I'm sad that I wasn't here last week because there was a lot of good stuff with her last week. But I will say that I was kind of surprised, and I like that this episode focused very much on character growth, but I was a little bit surprised that Lethal wasn't a trap. In some way,
I was
shape,
too.
or form.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Megan even said as they were flying down to Lethal, she goes, "It's a trap."
I'm not really surprised that it wasn't.
Okay.
Because putting the layer of trap on top of this would have taken away from the emotional beats
This is true.
really needed
and
that
the Empire
gravitas
has
in this episode.
limited resources.
Exactly. And I will say that even though, yes, Megan, I agree with you, I did find it somewhat surprising. I was glad that it was not a trap because, as you say, Katie, if it were, we would have totally lost out on the emotional weight.
The gravitas.
Of this episode. Exactly.
We needed it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So do we think that we're keeping X10 with us?
I don't
Clancy
know.
Brown?
Ryder something or other. His name was Ryder.
Yeah.
Dude, and you got elected governor with that name.
I know.
Sign me up.
Yeah, he was the governor of Lethal, and he was like pro Ezra's parents.
And therefore accused of treason. And now he's kind of a badass sniper living in the Badlands somewhere.
I am always in favor of Clancy Brown being a part of an animated
Exactly.
show.
Tell me about it.
Absolutely. I say sign him up for the... I think that I think it might be, because I feel like what they've done a fair amount on this season of Rebels is they kind of go around collecting characters from the past, be it if they were actually Clone Wars characters, or if they're more made up characters.
The unseen
past of Rebels, exactly. And they just kind of collect them and bring them back to the Rebel base, and they're just like slowly but surely like building up this little team.
Now, I wouldn't know where, but now that their base has been compromised, where's everybody going to go?
Because we
I'm
did
sure they
have
have
the
contingency.
conversation at the beginning
Exactly.
about we've checked all those systems. There's no good location for a base. Well, you're being picky. Well, I have to be.
Yeah,
Clearly.
So
Yeah, I'm really, really enjoying just Hera in charge.
Oh no, Captain Syndulla. She's
Captain
just-
Syndulla. Yeah.
It's just
that is
amazing.
where she should have been from the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really it's great to see her, because I mean she already has such a developed sense of responsibility. If
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Leadership.
Yeah, yeah. And so and in this episode too, they're in the middle of, first of all, the fight scenes in this episode were incredible.
Yeah,
Oh my
it was-
God, yes.
It was like seeing Ezra deflect blasters as he's running towards Callus and then do that cool little flip thing that he
Yeah.
did and then knock him back. Yeah, that was just fun.
Yeah.
I will say my favorite stupid part of this is when we started getting into the emotional side after the door closed, and they have the close-up of Kanan, and behind him the stormtroopers on the ground twitching.
Yep.
Like, okay, Ezra doesn't have a body count. All right, good to know. But
No,
that's still a stormtrooper
see,
lying on the
listen.
ground going,
And let's be real, if it had been Chopper that took that stormtrooper out, he would be dead.
Yeah,
Super
he
dead.
would have
He's
gotten
so dead.
sent out
That
of
is
airlock.
that's why Chopper kind of hid in the corner for this entire fight, because we didn't really want to kill a human on screen this time.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
He's like, guys, I gotta lay low for a while until
but
the heat dies
The
down
network
a little bit.
sensors, they don't like
Yeah.
me.
But I liked that in the ship battle, they were sort of in space.
In the what stratosphere?
Yeah.
of whatever planet that
exactly of Gorel.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoyed Hera, kind of sending Ezra and Kanan off on their own. And then once they had essentially won the battle enough that they were able to escape. And they're like, and I think it was Sabine asked her.
Yeah.
She's like, "So are we going to Lothal?" And she's like, "Nope, we're staying with the troops."
Obviously, they need me.
Yeah.
Because when I'm not here, these sort of things happen.
Well, yeah, no, that again, it kind of shows where her priorities are. And the fact that she trusts Kanan and Ezra to be able to obtain closure in one form or another, that she trusts them. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
What I love is the contrast about her telling them to go and, oh no, we're going to stay with you. I gave you an order. And then her turning around to help Captain Sato. I gave you an order. Yeah, well, I'm here. Whatever. There's kind of a difference here.
I do what I want.
Mom wears the pants in this family,
Well-
and she may well wear the pants in this extended family.
Well, I do want to make one other note
Okay.
before we move on about Sabine, because Sabine shined in this episode too.
She did. Yeah.
Because just in very subtle ways,
Yeah.
just being able to recognize strategy when she sees it. And I love that she's that smart and that attentive
She
and that
is.
aware.
Yeah, she and Hera in particular, the two of them together make such a good team.
She is the rogue in this little D&D party.
Yeah. That's why I love her so much.
I know, right?
I always play rogue. Anyway, we need to dive into some predictions, I think, before we wrap things up here.
Yes.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
On a light show.
That's okay. We got jazz
I'm
hands.
disappointed.
Jazz hands.
Disappointed.
So I'm going to let you guys take this away because I feel like I didn't really pay attention to the trailer. for the
It
next
wasn't a
episode.
trailer. It was a mashup of clips that we've had from this previous
Yeah, that's
season.
right,
We
because-
had no trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
because we're getting a break,
Yeah.
and then we're coming back
In January.
sometime in
Yeah, at
January,
some
maybe. But I think that when we come back, now that this sort of chapter has been closed a little bit, I think we're going to focus more on some of the other character relationships, like, I don't know, maybe Ahsoka and Vader. That thing that we hinted at last time.
I want it so
I want it really badly.
much.
Yeah, so that's just my thought, is that we're going to get kind of back to... They planted the seed at the beginning of the season. I feel like at the mid-season premiere, that's a good point to bring it up again.
See,
Absolutely.
I feel like that's going to be season finale territory because
Well, I didn't say
how
we're going to
often-
wrap it up.
Yeah.
No, I just mean how often can you get James Earl Jones?
Yeah.
You save it for the really big episodes because if you trot out Vader too much,
Right.
it becomes that's kind of the point where you're like, we don't have a chance in hell. Like,
Yeah.
he's still out there floating around, and you know that he's going to last
Well-
up to and through the movies, so you can't really take him out as a threat. But if you overuse him, you really don't have hope.
Well,
for
and
our
you don't
group of
want to
rebels.
oversaturate the audience with him either, because then that diminishes from his presence.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
We've talked about that before.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
He showed up twice in this series, and both times we're just like,
Yeah, it's the Alfred Hitchcock thing where you don't see the big main villain and they end up being much scarier that way.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. It's the Jaws effect.
Yes, exactly.
And it's not because the robotic shark is malfunctioning.
No,
this time.
nope. It's
His robotic
it's very
medicines work
intentional.
just fine.
They do. Until Return of the Jedi. All right, so we do need to wrap things up here. As Megan mentioned, we are on a little bit of a break until January, we believe. Just, keep following that hashtag ABTV Rebels. Follow all of us on Twitter, and you will know when we are coming back. In the meantime, Katie, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram at Kiaxet. That's Kiaxet. I'm also on Snapchat at Kia Prime. We have the mid-season finale of Arrow in an hour, so that's going to be fun and interesting. And Z Nation on Sunday. Enjoy whatever holiday you celebrate, you guys. Make it a good one.
Hey guys, I'm Megan. You guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at @themenguin. That's TheMenguin. I'm also on a bunch of shows here at AfterBuzz, including Ash vs. Evil Dead, and I write articles for the movie Chick with 2 Ks. Be sure to check those out.
And I am Emma Fyffe. You can follow me everywhere Emma Fyffes are found at Emma Fyffe. I also do a bunch of shows here at AfterBuzz TV, and I also tweet a lot, so follow me on Twitter, and you will know everything that I'm doing pretty much at all times of the day. Thank you so much to @MadisonBadger00 and Dr. Latte for your nice reviews in the iTunes store. We appreciate you saying nice things about us and admiring our enthusiasm for Star Wars. Guys, enjoy The Force Awakens. Before then, I'm sure that we will all have stuff to say about that when we get back from our little break here.
And if you're going to be in the giant lightsaber fight in LA, see you there.
Yes, it's going to be epic. Yes. Thank you again so much, you guys, and we will see you all again after our break.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.